September 23rd at 7 p.m. I will bring this meeting to order with our public charge. The Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should decorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. Now, Vice Chair Burns, land acknowledgement.
As we convene for the Durham Board of County Commissioners meeting, it's crucial to recognize the painful truth of history. We stand on the stolen ancestral lands of the Catawba, Eno, Occaneechi, Shikari, and Tuscarora peoples, whose deep connection to this land predates our arrival. We acknowledge with humility the unjust displacement and violence that occurred, leading to the disposition of indigenous peoples from their homelands. Their resilience in the face of such adversity is a testament to their strength and spirit. May we humbly honor the ancestors and elders of these nations, both past and present, by committing ourselves to fostering understanding, healing, and justice for all who inhabit this land. Let us walk forward together with open hearts, acknowledging the past and embracing a future guided by compassion, respect, and unity.
Thank you, Vice Chair Burns. And Commissioner Carter, if you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everybody, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Are there any agenda adjustments? Seeing none. Yes.
Madam Chair, if I could, there is a matter I'd like to add a closed session at the end of tonight to discuss with y'all a personnel matter.
Okay. Oh, is this what you left at my desk? Okay, I see that you.
Yeah, well, that'll be at the appropriate time, but.
Okay. Then we'll add a closed session to the end of the meeting for a personnel matter. Any other adjustments? Okay, I'll move for approval of the agenda. Right, moved by Commissioner Cutter, seconded by Commissioner Howerton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda as amended is approved. That brings us to our announcements. I will pass it to Clerk Wallace.
Good evening, Commissioners and public. I will read the announcements published in tonight's agenda. Minority and women-owned business owners are encouraged to register to participate in Durham's 2024 Minority Enterprise Development Med Week. The City of Durham and Durham County governments, in partnership with multiple community, state, and local businesses, will observe Solidifying Your Next Durham Med Week 2024 from October 14th through 17th. Participants can attend a Hub Certification Day event, a business fair, luncheon, and keynote address at the Durham Convention Center with the CARS Group Chief Change Officer and President Keisha Rivers. Registration deadline is October the 3rd, and there is a link on Eventbrite for registration. The Office of the Duke Forest announces that the 2024 Deer Herd Reduction Program begins on Monday, September 23rd, and ends on Friday, December 13th. During this time, the Durham, Courtesan, and Blackwood divisions will be closed to the public and for all recreation Monday through Friday. Saturdays and Sundays are open for normal use. Learn more about the program and read frequently asked questions at their website, dukeforest.duke.edu. Are you passionate about food, community service, and making a meaningful connection to other residents? The Durham County Cooperative Extension has a new and exciting opportunity for residents, the Extension Master Food Volunteer Program. To apply for the program, interested individuals are required to attend an information session to learn more about the program, meet extension staff, and get their questions answered. The session will cover an overview of the program, volunteer expectations, and how to apply. A limited number of applications will be accepted, and it begins January 2025. Zoom information sessions begin Friday, September 25th, 6:30 to 7:30, and there is a link to register, as well as Wednesday, October 30th, 6:30 to 7:30. Engage Durham invites residents to attend one of its 5 engagement events for the draft rules for the new Durham Unified Development Ordinance, UDO. Each session will include a presentation on proposed new zoning districts and zoning maps, as well as time for discussions and input. Snacks, children's activities, and Spanish language materials and interpretation will be provided. The dates are October 1st, which is a Tuesday, beginning at 5:30 p.m. at East Regional Library. Saturday, October 5th at 10 a.m. at South Regional Library. Tuesday, October 22nd at 6 p.m. virtually, and there is a link. Saturday, November 9th, 10:30 at North Regional, and Tuesday, November 19th, 5:30 at the main library. For additional information, you can visit engagedurham.com. What's cuter than socks? Kids in socks. Welcome Baby is hosting a month-long drive collecting socks to share with families through our giving closet. New and gently used sock sizes, newborn to 9 children's. Donations may be dropped off throughout the month. Feel free to ring the doorbell so we can snap a picture for our sock hop scrapbook. Donations are accepted 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday at 721 Foster Street. You can call 919-560-7319 or email ckriley@dconc.gov. The Durham County Board of Elections has launched a new mobile application, Deco Votes, designed to help residents stay informed and be prepared for upcoming elections, including the statewide general election on Tuesday, November 5th. This free, easy-to-use app offers instant access to important information, including election dates, sample ballots, personalized voter details, and more. The mobile app is available for download via the App Store for Apple devices or in the Google Play Store. The Durham County Department of Public Health will begin classes in October for the year-long Prevent to Lifestyle Change program. This is a part of the CDC's National Diabetes Prevention Program and aims to help you make lasting changes to prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. For additional information, you can contact 919-560-7995 or email mrtorres@dconc.gov. And lastly, the Durham County Sheriff's Department invites the community in all neighborhoods to participate in National Night Out. This year's annual law enforcement community partnership event will take place on Tuesday, October 3rd. That should be October the 1st, Tuesday, October 1st. Event will be scheduled through Durham County, and more information can be found at the durhamsheriff.com website. That concludes the announcements in tonight's agenda.
Thank you so much, Clerk Wallace. I'll bring it back to the board to see if there's additional announcements. Vice Chair Burns.
I did. It's kind of early, but I think the businesses need to register early along the lines with our midweek that is coming up, and I'm super excited about it. It was really great last year when when county took point, cities taking point this time, and so I look forward to a multi-day event, but it's going to spill over somewhat in RTP in November. So RTI, Research Triangle Institute, will be doing a Black-owned business fair on Tuesday, November 12th. That might seem far out, but what it is, they're trying to give vendors enough time to get booths and get situated and get logistics in. So it will be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Participation is free and the booths are free, and lunch will be provided. And I do have the contact information, which I will make available to the clerk so that she can share it. Did Commissioner Carter have her hand up? Okay, so the other thing we just did, for those of you all who are familiar with W.G. Pearson, the W.G. Pearson Center, as you all know, there are a lot of small businesses, particularly restaurants, that have struggled post-pandemic. And ARPA funds that were made available from the city side have actually put a commercial kitchen in there that will be available for use by individuals in the community who either have food trucks or who are seeking to level up and just don't have access to the $800,000 that would be needed. So we were there, Commissioner Carter and I, for the ribbon cutting, and I think the kitchen was beautiful in my opinion, and I think folks want to have a nice, aesthetically pleasing place to cook as they try their recipes before they go out into the street. So super excited about that being right off of Elm Street, and just how many Black restaurateurs and owners were there who were saying, I cannot wait to use this kitchen. So you should see that, but that ribbon cut was this afternoon. And And I had one more, but I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Burns. Commissioner Jacobs, do you have, okay. Seeing no more.
Wait a minute. Student U. I think I said W.G. Pearson because it's in there, but it was done by Student U. Michelle, I'm sorry. To Michelle Price, the Executive Director. It was done by Student U, so thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other announcements, I'll move us to the minutes. We have 2 minutes for approval at this meeting, our work session from September 3rd and our regular session September 9th. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Jacobs, seconded by Vice Chair Burns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved unanimously. That now brings us to our ceremonial items, with the first one being the Minority Enterprise Development Week. I'll pass to Commissioner Carter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Minority Enterprise Development Week 2024. Whereas it is the policy of the County of Durham that purchasing by the county and contracts with the county be open to all people and be free of discrimination on the basis of race and gender. And whereas diverse entrepreneurship encourages progress toward innovative solutions to the challenges of economic growth and supports the promise of thriving communities that embrace inclusion and a better life for all families. And whereas the Durham County Minority and Women Enterprise Ordinance Section 8-132 provides minorities and women equal opportunity to participate in all aspects of the county's contracting program, including but not limited to employment, construction projects, and/or materials and service contracts consistent with law. And whereas North Carolina General Statute 143-128 provides for good faith efforts to be made in an effort to ensure fair participation of minority and women business owners in all county projects. And whereas, according to the Minority Business Development Agency, by 2044, the nation's prosperity will rely even more on minorities, the fastest growing segment of the population. Entrepreneurship is a sure pathway to wealth creation and a thriving national economy. Today, U.S. minority business enterprises represent 29% of all firms, but only 11% have paid employees. If minority business enterprises were to obtain entrepreneurial parity, the U.S. economy would realize 13 million more jobs. And whereas it is further the policy of the county to conduct its contracting programs so as to prevent such discrimination, correct present discrimination, and to resolve claims of such discrimination. And whereas the County of Durham is a sponsor of the Minority Enterprise Development Week in partnership with the City of Durham. During Minority Enterprise Development Week, we recognize that our county and our economy are stronger because of the hardworking men and women who comprise America's minority business community. They consistently demonstrate the courage it takes to overcome adversity, seize opportunity, and contribute to our shared prosperity. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Nidal Alam, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October 14th through 17th, 2024 as Minority Enterprise Development Week in Durham County, this 23rd day of September 2024, and a place for our Chair's signature.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. And I see our Chief of Staff, Shannon Trapp, is here.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you so much for this proclamation, and also thank you for those of you who are able to participate in the events during this week. I know that several of you have already confirmed for the keynote and luncheon event that is happening on the Thursday the 17th. Our clerk has already shared the calendar for that week, so I won't reiterate that, but I thank you all for your support, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Only random question I have, are we seeing a decent uptick in registration, like we feel good about? Yeah.
We do feel good about registration. As you did mention earlier, the city is taking the lead, and we are the supporting partner this year for the city, and so we are managing some of those registrations that come in, but we are managing those in partnership with the city. But we feel very good about our participants and our registration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Seeing no other comments, thank you so much, Chief of Staff Crab. I'll move us to our next resolution, which is a proclamation, which is the 3rd Annual North Carolina Black Alliance Rooted in Wellness Day that Vice Chair Burns will be reading.
Durham County Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, 3rd Annual North Carolina Black Alliance Rooted in Wellness Day, 2024. Whereas Rooted in Wellness Day is a day of collective action where communities come together across the state to offer local resources that support community being and agencies such as healthcare screenings, mammograms, immunizations, and information about health insurance. And whereas Rooted in Wellness Day is a statewide event hosted simultaneously in multiple local communities across the state of North Carolina to advance health equity, and whereas St. Mark AME Zion Church is a trailblazer in addressing community health and transforming the lives of those in their community through the health ministries, and will host Durham's Rooted in Wellness Day at their church. And whereas the North Carolina Black Alliance believes every American should have access to health care in the time of injury or illness, and whereas Black and brown communities carry the burden of inequitable health care policies and disparities in North Carolina healthcare system, whereas the impact of Rooted in Wellness Day is bringing communities not reached by the traditional healthcare system closer to resources that support their overall health and well-being. And whereas local leaders from faith communities and grassroots organizations directly impact the progress of health equity in their communities through health policy and mutual aid by convening local Rooted in Wellness Day sites. And whereas greater access to resources and screening that support community health and well-being and receiving education on healthcare issues impacting communities locally and statewide creates healthier communities that are more informed about the interconnectedness of democracy and health equity. Now, therefore, I, Netta Alam, Chair, and on the behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September 28th, 2024 as Rooted in Wellness Day in Durham County, North Carolina, and will commend its observance to all citizens in recognition of the positive impact of Rooted in Wellness Day in our community. This the 23rd day of September 2024.
Thank you, Vice Chair Burns.
Typo. Is this being presented to the individual tonight?
No.
It is.
Okay.
I thought, no, I just wanted to let it, there's a typo, so we might have to redo it before we hand it to him. That's what I was saying. When y'all heard me blah, 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 I walked up on a typo and I didn't want to give it to him with that. That was all. So wonderful.
Thank you. And so we have community members receiving the proclamation. We have Ms. Carita Giddings, the Access to Healthcare Coordinator from NC Black Alliance. If you press the button and the mic will turn on. The one on the right. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Carita Giddings with the North Carolina Black Alliance. I just arrived, so I want to thank you all for accepting our proclamation and for supporting our statewide effort. We are really excited to bring this event to Durham this year. So thank you. Is there anything else?
No, thank you so much.
Okay, thank
Hey,
you.
hold on. I had one. Did the clerk give the date or so when is it at St. Mark's? I'm sorry.
Yes, the event will be.
I'm sorry, Monica.
Yes, the event will be at St. Mark's AME Zion Church on Roxborough Street from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m.
And I feel like we've seen a poster for it. I've seen it online. I've seen it in emails. But if you could make it available to us, since we did a proclamation, we will make a best effort to actually send it out through our media channels also.
Absolutely. Would the best way be for me to send it to Ms. Wallace?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will definitely do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Tell Marcus we all say hello. Yeah. Oh, yes. Commissioner Jacobs.
I just wanted to thank you for raising awareness about this issue and hosting this event to the North Carolina Black Alliance. On Friday, we just had a Dementia Inclusive Durham event at the Convention Center, and a professor from Wake Forest, Goldie Bird, presented and really focused on the racial disparities related to dementia. One of the things that we learned from her is that, well, first of all, we know that dementia is really increasing exponentially. 1 out of every 65 people now having dementia, some form of dementia, but 2/3 of the people who are being impacted by dementia are women, and the rate is twice as higher for Black Americans, twice as higher, and 1.5 times higher for Hispanic Americans, Latinx Americans, and 80% of the causes don't have anything to do with genetics. It's all around social determinants of health and poverty, access to care. So the good news is that there are things that we can do because they're not genetically determined. But there's just so much work that we have to do. I mean, that's just one disease that is rapidly increasing and affects the whole family, the caregivers, the unpaid care. And so I just want to lift that up. I'm really appreciative of the work that you're doing, because it takes all of us to lift up these issues of racial disparities related to health. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you so much again for bringing this to Durham and presenting it to us to be able to advertise and bring the community together as well too. Thank you. That brings us to our final resolution, which is the honoring the service and leadership of Governor Roy Cooper. This will be read by me, Commissioner Howerton, and Commissioner Jacobs, starting with Commissioner Howerton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And tonight, I have my glasses. We presented this to Governor Cooper, and he handed me his glasses because I was stumbling over some words. I said, I don't have my glasses. And he handed me his glasses. Yeah, they worked. They helped. So tonight, it is my honor to read this for our community. Durham Board of Commissioners resolution honoring the service of Governor Roy Cooper. Whereas Roy Asbury Cooper III has served with distinction as the governor of North Carolina since January 1, 2017, dedicating his life's work to improving the well-being of all North Carolinians, and in particular enhancing the quality of life for residents of Durham County. And whereas Governor Cooper's leadership throughout the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, guided by a commitment to science and the safety of North Carolinians, was instrumental in protecting the health and welfare of Durham County residents, providing access to critical health care resources and support during this difficult period. And whereas Governor Cooper has been a steadfast advocate for Medicaid expansion, a policy which stands to increase access to affordable health care for thousands of uninsured residents in Durham County, improving health outcomes and addressing long-standing inequities in health care coverage. And
whereas Durham County has greatly benefited from Governor Cooper's focus on economic development and job creation, with major investments in the technology, life sciences, and clean energy sectors, which has fostered significant growth and prosperity in the region, creating high-quality jobs and boosting the local economy. And whereas under Governor Cooper's administration, North Carolina has seen increased investments in public education, including higher teacher pay and expanded access to early childhood education, significantly benefiting Durham County public schools and supporting the success of students and educators across the county. And whereas Governor Cooper has championed affordable housing initiatives, including crucial investments in the North Carolina Housing Trust Fund, which have contributed to the development of affordable housing in Durham County, helping to alleviate the housing challenges faced by many local families. And
Whereas Governor Cooper has been a tireless advocate for environmental protection and sustainability, advancing policies that promote clean energy and environmental justice, ensuring that Durham County residents enjoy a healthier, more sustainable environment for generations to come. And whereas Governor Cooper's enduring commitment to Durham County has fostered a spirit of collaboration, civic engagement, and optimism, ensuring that our community continues to thrive and prosper under his leadership. Now therefore be it resolved that the Durham County Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize and honor Governor Roy Cooper for his outstanding service, exemplary leadership, and unwavering commitment to the people of Durham County, whose lives he has touched and whose future he has helped shape for the better. And be it further resolved that the Durham County Board of Commissioners extends its deepest appreciations to Governor Cooper for his many contributions to the betterment of Durham County and the state of North Carolina, and wishes him continued success in his future endeavors, this the 20th day of September 2024. Signed, all the commissioners. Thank you. Commissioner Jacobs has comments?
Well, I just want to thank our chair for your leadership on this resolution. And I also want to thank our clerk for getting the resolution framed. It was beautiful, and it was really nice to be able to present this personally to Governor Cooper. I think a lot of us felt very nostalgic thinking about his legacy of serving in many different roles as an elected leader in this state, but also just thinking about the monumental things that he's been able to do when we've had a majority in the General Assembly and when we haven't. So it's pretty incredible to think about the way he led us through things like COVID and then getting things like Medicaid expansion done, even when a lot of people would have challenges with things like that. So again, I appreciated the opportunity for our board to be able to recognize how he's impacted people right here in Durham. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Harrison?
And he also said, remember, he's not going anywhere. He's got lots more to do. He's not going to die. He's got a lot of more work to do.
Vice Chair Prince?
And mine is really quick. So it was good to be with everybody that week. And due to time, we did not get to, we couldn't do everything. And we couldn't say everything that we wanted to say. And I think one of the things that I did want to point out, I'm happy that Commissioner Jacobs brought it up. I don't even know if I've ever kind of sort of publicly said that. I think about some of the people that I see in this room and how much, they protested him. It was one day in particular I had to come here and I was at work. And there was a group of folks that protested and they were really upset. They said he lives in the governor's mansion, but he wants us to be homeless. And that ignorance came from the fact that in the middle of the night, a lot of people don't know this, he had set a moratorium on evictions. Set a moratorium. And in the middle of the night, the Council of State, led by Mark Robinson, if the majority of the Council of State gets together, they can override an executive order. So after 5 o'clock, they overrode it and evictions could start. And they directed the administrative office of the courts to start evicting people from their apartments. So let's go back 2 years before that, or a year and a half before that, before the Biden administration or Congress said that we had emergency rental assistance. That man got CARES Act money. And he said, okay, I know people don't have enough money to pay their rent. And he got 7 people together, I was one of the 7, and said, we're gonna come up with a rental assistance program. He gave us $67 million before anybody in the country was thinking about this. So there were so many stories that they told us that we couldn't tell, but that's one I really want people to know about, that we were in this pandemic for 3 months and they were telling him spend this money on everything else, and he was like, I do not want people to be homeless. And and then I'm gonna stop here. We were real proud of that little $67 billion because we had a whole conversation and said, oh, we're gonna keep 10,000 people or 15,000 people in their homes. And I remember the application had been open for 4 days. And on day 4, we had 22,000 applications. Like, we had no idea how bad COVID was. Well, thank goodness Congress came through with money for emergency rental assistance. And all told, that group of us became 350, and we kept 191,000 people in a household, and we spent $1.3 billion on rent. So this is not a story about Namashina Burns. It's a story about the fact that 6 months before the White House stepped in, we were able to keep people in their house with that $67 million. And I only say that because I'm looking at people in this room that protested against that thing, not knowing the backstory, and probably question why in the world are they giving this man a proclamation. It is because every single day he does stuff like that you have no idea about when you sit up on your high horse. So that's why we do proclamations for people.
Thank you. Commissioner Carter?
Yes, I also wanted to thank you, Nitha, and I think maybe Commissioner Burns contributed to, both of you, to this resolution. It's great. I think it did a really good job, as Wendy said, of summarizing the sort of highlights of the legacy of Cooper's leadership. And he sure still is fighting. He declared 2024 the year of public schools, and I think it was on Friday, I mean, real recently, I think it was Friday, he vetoed House Bill 10, which, in my opinion, has the worst public policy as far as education is concerned, public education, in expanding the amount of money that the state's going to provide for vouchers for private schools for families who are basically wealthy enough to pay on their own for private schools. This was a bill that was originally designed by the legislature to deal with sheriff's cooperation with ICE, and they transformed it into basically a little mini budget bill that's going to take over $250 million, give it to schools that are not accountable for student performance. They can be religious schools, they can discriminate, they do not have to have certified teachers. It goes on and on. So God bless Governor Cooper for standing up for the year of public schools and using his veto power on this very deleterious bill.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Thank you, everyone, for the comments. And yes, echo the sentiments of thank you to the clerk's office. I think our proclamation resolution was the prettiest and most well presented of all that were presented to the governor on Friday. So thank you so much for doing that on such a rush also. That brings us to the end of our ceremonial items and brings us to our consent agenda. Are there items that the board members would like to pull? Okay.
No, but I'm happy we're moving $750,000 for digital equity.
Thank you. There is one item that there's been a citizen comment request on for 24-0602, so we'll pull that one. Do I hear a motion for approval of the remaining items?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda minus that one item is approved. Now, other business, we have Deborah Craig Ray, I believe, a discussion for the approval of the 2025 federal legislative goals for NC.
Good evening, commissioners. I hope everybody's doing well. Typically, as you know, we bring forward the federal legislative goals for your discussion at a work session. But of course, this time we ran out of time and we have to have our goals sent in to NCACC on the 4th or the 4th, and we don't meet again until the 7th. So I hope all of you thought over the weekend about any federal goals that you might want to offer. The last time that we did this exercise was in 2022, and we had several goals, and of course, once you tell me the goals that you have in mind, I'll work to develop the background, and then I will send it in for consideration with NCACC. So far, I've not received anything from you at this point, and so I'm here to lead this discussion. So whatever directive you would like to give me, we will move forward with.
Thank you, Deborah. Do we have the items that we voted on for 22?
I actually do. I can give you a couple of examples, and if the clerk can make copies. One of the goals was support the Black Maternal Health Omnibus Act of 2021, put forward by the Federal Black Maternal Health Caucus. That one was actually submitted by Commissioner Carter. Another one was increase federal investments in child care services for families, including increased funding for things like early Head Start and Head Start, and also wages for Head Start workers. That was again put forth by Commissioner Carter. Passed the Child Care for Working Families Act. That was brought forward. Actually, I don't see who put that one forward. So these others came through. Free healthy school meals for all. Of course, we've seen action there. Expand SNAP eligibility for formerly incarcerated individuals, college students, and other vulnerable populations. Increase funding for Older Americans Act nutrition programs. So those are some examples of items that were put forward before, and I can share this with Monica to make copies.
The mic.
Deborah, do we have anything? I know that basically it's a city issue, but now the counties has to step in as well around housing. Did we have anything around on housing in there?
I've not seen anything that we've done in the past around housing. I know it's certainly now more of an interest for our board the last few years, and certainly we've got some examples of that, but nothing from the federal legislative level.
I have been reading a lot of counties are really taking housing on. It used to be it was just the cities, but county government's taking on now as well. I'd like for us to see if there's anything that we can support, and that's something that's maybe already being presented, but we could sign on to it.
I certainly can check with our representative staff and see if there's something that is in the queue right now.
I believe Representative AOC and Senator Tina Smith just introduced the Homes Act. I think it was on Friday, which is for 30, I was going to say million, but I'm pretty sure it's billion, $30 billion to make over 1 million homes, affordable housing, mixed income housing developments across the country that maybe we can ask our representatives to sign on and support.
Yeah.
Co-sponsor that bill.
All right. You said
the Homes Act. AOC and Senator Tina Smith.
Yeah, I did. I saw that article as well. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So I was there's some other caveats, but the umbrella of it is home. So to Chair Lom's point, anybody who's been watching it, HUD has seen a decrease in how much money they can put out for down payment assistance, what they can do for manufactured homes. So just within homes, there are a few other caveats where they have now allowed for manufactured homes to now be manufactured multifamily homes. That's something I think that we would be able to push, especially as we're trying to do multifamily homes, especially multifamily homes for those who are struggling with opioid addictions or folks who are previously justice involved. And I know that this board, as well as the next board, are interested in initiatives like that. They cut the down payment assistance for HUD was something like $400 million, and they cut it down to $150 million. So in the Homes Act, I think they're trying to push to get those levels back up. But what I did want to throw out there, I know that Congresswoman Valerie Foushee has been vigilant in her support. We actually do have a HBCU here, and Congresswoman Alma Adams is chair of the bipartisan HBCU caucus, and she, and it's bipartisan, so she, along with Congresswoman Foushee, are working with Senator Tom Tillis right now on an additional omnibus bill for HBCUs, as well as Representative Hawkins in our own state legislature. So I do think that these are things that we should sign on to, outside of the fact that North Carolina does have the largest number of four-year HBCUs. I think Alabama has the largest number, but they count some of their community colleges. We have 11 now that Barbara Scotia is open. So I do hope that we can sign on to that legislation as well. And she also did a piece of legislation. I'm gonna stop here. She recently, as of like the past Friday, moved forward with an initiative with Senator Tillis to expand access to AI technology and drone programs at HBCUs in North Carolina. I don't have the bill number. I did text somebody while we're sitting here. If I get it beforehand, I will get it to you, and I yield my time. But those were my two.
Thank you. And now I see Clerk Wallace brought us the copies. I feel like we should, if the board is okay with it, I would be interested in us pushing all of these from 22 forward, as well as I think we had conversations about this. When it comes to Medicaid expansion, I remember when Attorney General Josh Stein came and spoke with us, there's restrictions around providing Medicaid to formerly incarcerated individuals to be able to push for federal legislation to make formerly incarcerated individuals be eligible for Medicaid.
I have an update on that.
Okay.
So there's now our state has applied for a waiver, and so that we will be eligible for that, and that should be coming within the next 8 months to a year. So we are in the process of that.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
And then you have items?
Yeah, I agree with you. We should, anything that makes sense to move forward that has not already taken place.
All right.
I don't see anything on here about the earned income child tax credit. That would be something else for us to add. That's kind of an ongoing thing. And also related to housing, expanding funding for the federal housing tax credit program. I mean, that's a program that, and also looking at some of the restrictions, making that more flexible. For instance, I know we were talking about some of our projects recently, and a lot of times they're tied to things like having a grocery store, which we know how hard it is to do a grocery store. We've been trying to do that in one of our projects. So there are just certain aspects to that program that also end up being an impediment. So looking at how to make that, and I think, again, just related to anything, Deborah and I just sat in on the Health and Human Services Steering Committee meeting today for our state goals, and unfortunately that's why I couldn't go to the kitchen ribbon cutting. And it really hit home how it's important to put forward things that are going to also have a chance of getting support. We actually encountered resistance to some of the goals that Durham County had put forward. Luckily, we were both there to speak on them, and sometimes we were successful, sometimes we were not. So that is an issue, just to put that out there. Thank you.
Yeah, this does go through a vetting process with the board, so we just need to bear that in mind.
And I think the last one I'd also ask to add is, I know that there have been, Congresswoman Adams serves on the committee, I can't remember the committee name now, but that introduces the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights. And there's been also movement in the state legislature on state work in support of care workers and the care agenda. So maybe to have the counties also provide support, because I think the congresswoman out in Forsyth County is not as supportive and of the domestic workers Bill of Rights, but to show that the county's association supports it could help move it along.
Madam Chair, I just want to throw something in as a tag on to one from Commissioner Jacobs. I know when we talk about earned income tax credit, I think there's more than one bill. As this board, I think I'm safe in saying the bill that we would want to move forward is the $6,000 allowance as opposed to the $3,000. So as we're making recommendations for the ones that we support and attach on, yeah, that was nice, but it seems to be some movement to increase that amount. The same way there's movement to do, $25,000 in down payment assistance for housing. Like, we're seeing increases. So I just want us to, as a board, if we're going to attach onto them, we attach onto those. Commissioner Howerton as well as Chair Lom both sit on the guaranteed income board, and national board, and they would have to correct me, but the numbers prove it. The earned income tax credit during COVID pulled 3.4 million children out of poverty.
That's right.
Period, at $3,000. So we seeded it. It works, and then as soon as it went away, we were back where we were. So I'm of the mind that we would like to see the $6,000 one move ahead, and that's all I have.
That's actually probably President Biden calling Deborah now to tell him he's
Tell
approved
the
all of our
president
items.
he said
So we can have it all.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Chair Alum, your comment about the domestic workers sparked a conversation that was happening at the Dementia Inclusive Forum about the need for policies that give some type of tax credit or financial support to caregivers. And I think there is legislation right now around that at the state and federal level. If you could look into that. Here in North Carolina, there are over 300,000 people in the state who are providing unpaid care for family members. I think this is an issue that it just impacts everybody. It's a bipartisan issue, and it's providing millions and millions of dollars of care that people are not getting any type of financial benefit for or recognition of. So that's something that we maybe could get people to really support.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? We just threw a lot at you, Deborah. But thank you so much for bringing this and for always advocating for Durham and our state.
Absolutely, my pleasure. We will do our research, and I will roll this back to you before I send it over to NCACC. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That brings us back to, that brings us to board and commission appointments. Attorney Massey, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. You have selected for the Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee, Nick Galvez. For the Audit Oversight Committee, Nicole McCoy. For the Durham County Women's Commission, Rachel Saywan, and Makisha Markham. For the Durham Workforce Development Board, Latasha Best-Gaddy and Christian Rebelli. For the Historic Preservation Commission, Kenneth Webb. And for the Homeless Services Advisory Committee, Jay Mebane.
Thank you, Attorney Massey. Thank you and congratulations to everyone who has been appointed. We appreciate you stepping up and putting your time and knowledge and love for Durham forward into serving on these boards. And to folks who haven't been selected, we appreciate your application, and there's still lots and lots of boards that are vacant, and we hope that you'll continue to apply and that we'll see your applications on the next time we vote. Thank you. That brings us to the items pulled from consent agenda. There was one item, 24-0602. We have one speaker, Amanda Wallace, who will have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello. Yes, so my name is Amanda Wallace. I'm the founder of Operation Stop CPS, and I'm here because the agenda states that Dr. Soul commenced the period of leave on the evening of September 9th, 2024, and the board decided to appoint Deputy County Manager to serve as acting county manager that evening. And I understand the narrative that the board is trying to put out, but what the community is hearing that the county manager was suspended. And so we're trying to get some information about what is actually happening in our county government. And so on September 9th, the board had a closed session at 4:30 p.m. And then that evening, Kimberly puts in her notice of leave. That doesn't feel like a coincidence, right? And it could be pure speculation, but without transparency, there will continue to be speculation. And so as the people of Durham, whose taxpayer dollars are paying her salary, even on leave, again, we are asking if this has anything to do with any wrongdoing, what is happening, was she suspended, was this leave was she made to go on leave? Like, we have some unanswered questions here. And so again, we are asking the board to be transparent and not just put out a narrative as if she's just on leave and now we're just going to put somebody else in that position. You know, the county manager has a lot of power. And so we just want some answers. That's my question, before you just put somebody else in her position.
Thank you, Thank you, Amanda Wallace. The board is not going to be making any comments on that material as it's a personnel item. That now moves us to the approval of this item. Do I hear a motion to approve 24-0602?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 24-0602 is passed unanimously. Thank you. And now we will move to at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, condition of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee to hear or investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against an individual public officer or employee pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A6.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Howerton, second by Vice Chair Burns. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in closed session.